he's been on his phone playing damage control after Cassie dropped that lawsuit. He's been calling other people that he might have wronged and been like, hey, don't say anything. I got some money for you. Hey, don't say anything. And it looks like they might have tapped into some of those calls. And I think that's why they denied his bail, because they know now, hey, if we let him out of jail, he's going to be on the phone. He's going to be trying to scare away any other witnesses we might have. So we can't let him out of jail, because he's going to use his money and his power to try to shut those witnesses down, right? Hello everyone, and welcome back to Lindsay Unfiltered. And today we will be covering the 14-page indictment carried down by the United States Department of Justice towards Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Love, aka whatever. He has so many aliases, ladies and gentlemen. It's unbelievable. Now, a couple months ago, I read the entire 35-page lawsuit that Cassie had taken out against Mr. Combs. And on that lawsuit, she settled the next day. Now that time has passed, it looks like an investigation has been launched, and Homeland Security swept in and raided Diddy's home earlier this year. Now, with that raid has come down an indictment. So I'm going to read the 14-page indictment from the United States Department of Justice's website, and we're going to see exactly what it is they are alleging that P. Diddy did. So if you're interested in content like this, about scandals, true crime, conspiracies with a twist of humor, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I want to thank all 1,572 of my subscribers. I really appreciate it. And make sure to engage in the comments. If you don't want to leave a comment, hit that like button. If you don't want to hit the like button, leave a comment. Share the video. Let's grow the channel together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this 14-page indictment. Okay, guys, as you can see, I got this from the Department of Justice's website. This is public record, public information. You can go look at it yourself. This was a sealed indictment here, and we're going to read it together. It's 14 pages. I'm going to read it so you don't have to, okay? I don't really use Microsoft Edge ever, but I do love Microsoft Copilot for allowing me to use this highlighter, and I can draw. I love that, because we're going to be using this highlighter because we need to break something. We need to break some things down here, guys. Okay? This is big. This indictment that sits in front of us would not have been an indictment if it weren't for Cassie filing the lawsuit. In my humble, unfiltered opinion. I've read through this. I haven't read it all, but it looks a lot like the lawsuit that I read. It's on my channel. Go check it out. Now we might need a P. Diddy playlist because this is big, okay? I know there's a lot of channels covering this right now. I like to read court documents. I like to watch interrogations, and I love documentaries, so I had to jump on this one as well. I couldn't put it off. It's time to read it now. So let's get started, okay? United States District Court, Southern District of New York, United States of America. So the entire United States, the whole U.S. Not one state, not New York. The entire United States, the whole U.S. versus Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Diddy, a.k.a. PD, a.k.a. Love. Which one did you guys call him? I feel like I was more on the P. Diddy. My era was P. Diddy. The era before me was Puff Daddy. I guess this new generation of kids that don't probably even really know him would call him Love or Nobody, like, he tried to get love to stick, and we were all like, nah, we're not calling you that. We're not about to call you that. The hell? But for me, I'm going to refer to him as Diddy, because that's what I knew this man as for my whole life, right? Or P. Diddy, right? These two. That's about it. My mom's generation and up, now Puff Daddy, they were calling this man Daddy back in the day. I don't know about that. Okay, count one, racketeering conspiracy. The grand jury charges for decades Sean Combs, aka Diddy, the defendant, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, that first word, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. So that's the racketeering, the criminal enterprise, I guess the business of it all. You know, everybody's in on this, us doing something that we have no business doing. That's the racketeering. Everyone's in on the fact that we are committing crimes and we're covering it up, and we're committing crimes and we're covering it up, right? Sean Combs, aka Diddy, operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, collectively the Combs business. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. Revolt, right? So what are they saying here? What are y'all saying? Are y'all saying that he's operating his racketeering business? This racketeering that you're saying, the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, the criminal enterprise that engaged in all of these crimes was underneath the record label, the apparel line, the alcoholic spirits business. We're talking Ciroc, we're talking DeLeon. So you're saying these businesses, these very legal businesses, had very illegal things going on in the background. That's what you're alleging here, right? Okay. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals. This abuse at times was verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. The country alleges that Diddy blackmailed these women, said, "You are going to go and you are going to do whatever I want you to do. And if you don't, I'm liable to hit you. I am liable to cut off every dollar you make. You're liable to not have a job tomorrow. And these substances that you are addicted to, you won't have anymore," right? Everything these young women and young men depended on would be gone in a snap if they said no. It doesn't matter what he wanted, right? Okay, number 4. Physical abuse by Sean Combs, aka the defendant, was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Well, we saw that on the tape with Cassandra Ventura. These assaults were at times witnessed by others and included one instance at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman, as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. Combs' violence was not limited to this woman. It extended to his employees, witnesses to his abuse, and others. So why are they saying a woman? We know who the woman is that he threw the vase at, kicked, and dragged. We know. The entirety of the United States knows. There's no need to cover that up. We know who the woman is. And we know that Diddy has a power problem, right? When we talk about Diddy, I see a huge power problem. In comparing him to R. Kelly, I think R. Kelly had more of a sex problem. I think Diddy has more of a power problem, an ego problem. They both do, but I see it more for Diddy being the power of it all, the power of you needing him. You need me. I feel like Diddy and R. Kelly both have that power trip about them, but even more so with Diddy because the way he can make people feel like you need me to survive. R. Kelly, it was more about the relations for R. Kelly, in my opinion, right? Sean Combs, the defendant, used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial smacks. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates, acted as Combs' intermediaries. So we have Ciroc executives helping him cover this up. We got Bad Boy executives helping him cover this up. We got DeLeon executives helping him cover this up. Revolt executives helping him cover this up. That's what they're alleging. Executives and people of his many businesses. P. Diddy has many businesses, but what they're alleging is there was more of like an organized crime to this, where there were people, assistants, supervisors that were helping him make sure everything stayed under wraps, from what I could understand, right? The Combs enterprise, from at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of filing this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown, were members and associates of a criminal organization, the Combs Enterprise, or the Enterprise. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of, that word, coercion and enticement to engage in that word offenses, that word, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Oh. So there was a whole group of people doing this. Honestly, I feel like the Combs enterprise, this is where the RICO comes from. This is where the racketeering comes from, because you're looking at an enterprise. You're looking at an organization. You're looking at a lot of people involved in this to keep this going for a long time, right? The Combs enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18, United States Code, Section 1961, that is a group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. The Combs enterprise consisted of P. Diddy, entities within the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, individuals employed by and associated with Combs business, and others known and unknown. The Combs enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs enterprise. The Combs enterprise was engaged in, and its activities affected, interstate and foreign commerce. When you say foreign, what are we talking about? Foreign. What were we getting from other countries? What were we taking in from other countries? Was it people, or was it substances, or was it weapons? What is the foreign commerce? Tell me about that a little bit. The Combs enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs was the leader of the Combs enterprise. Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprises affairs. These individuals included certain Combs businesses employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household staff, personal assistants, high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. Now, the indictment breaks down the purposes of the Combs Enterprises. The purposes of the Combs Enterprises included the following: operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network, and a media company. B, preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs, the defendant, as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. C, enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs, and in particular, those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of Combs Enterprise, including the power of its leader, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial workers. Enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual violence, trafficking, forced labor. I still want to know about the forced labor. What are they talking about? Interstate transportation for purposes of work, coercion and enticement to engage in work, distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats, and protecting the Combs enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. So, if you saw something happen, if you were just so happened to peek your head around a corner and you saw something happen, they were coming for you. They were going to either say, hey, here's a little money, or hey, if you say something, it's going to be me and you. They were on that level, you know? Hear no evil, see no evil, that level, right? Means and methods of the enterprise. Among the means and methods by which Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, the defendant, and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise included the following. Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and the prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended victims. So this is telling me that Cassie wasn't the only one that was in those freak-offs. But let's continue. Extended acts with male gigolos that Combs referred to, among other things, freak-offs. The fact that freak-offs is in this indictment and they couldn't rename it as something else is crazy. The fact that freak-offs is in here lets me know that they are referring to Cassie's document, right? Freak-offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, had fun during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial gigolos among state lines and internationally. You said what? Where are you getting these people from? Freak-offs. Let me find out. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes last multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers, multiple commercial gigolos. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Wow. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees. They're saying everybody, right? facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to mitigate room damage, arranging travel for the victims. That's a big one. That's a big one that the cops will look into, because you're arranging their travel. And combs to and from freak-offs, resupplying combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial beat workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluid. Where do they get IV fluid? They just have IV fluids on hand? Oh, okay. Or is it just like, don't you need a doctor or nurse, somebody to give you that? Oh, okay. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies. Freak-off supplies is diabolical, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. This has been a huge meme on TikTok, because it should be. Because why do you need 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant for? 1,000. 1,000. And somebody resupplied you with this. So that wasn't your first pallet. I hear word on the street. That was your re-up pallet. Oh hell no, bruh. Hell no. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. This all sounds like Cassie, guys. Controlling her housing, monitoring her medical records, dictating her appearance, right? That all sounds very Cassie. So when they say victims, who's the other victims? Are we going to know about that? Right? During and separate from freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security, or without repercussions in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during the freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victim. So yes, that tells me he was blackmailing. He was blackmailing. The victim never thought they could leave because of everything that he had on them, allegedly, right? Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate or threaten others, including victims and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, as well as a drum magazine. Why? If you're a billionaire, why? If you're a billionaire and you have so much money, why do you have 3 AR-15s with defaced numbers on them? Can somebody put that in the comments? Because I don't understand. Why do they need to be defaced? As well as a drum magazine. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs' control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victim's career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victims compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witness Combs' violence towards the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise help conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs residences. These occasions included instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. When employees, witnesses to his abuse, or others threatened Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence included kidnapping and arson. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. When Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempt bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. So, P. Diddy has been out here bribing people. He's been on his phone playing damage control after Cassie dropped that lawsuit. He's been calling other people that he might have wronged and been like, hey, don't say anything, I got some money for you. Hey, don't say anything. And it looks like they might have tapped into some of those calls. And I think that's why they denied his bail, because they know now, hey, if we let him out of jail, he's going to be on the phone. He's going to be trying to scare away any other witnesses we might have. So we can't let him out of jail, because he's going to use his money and his power to try to shut those witnesses down, right? So I understand that, right? The racketeering conspiracy. Okay? Well, let's break down. What is racketeering? Let's break it down. From at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of filing this indictment, the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown, being persons employed and associated with the Combs enterprise, described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together and with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, to wit, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962C, that is, to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering, as that term is defined in Title 18, United States Code, Sections 1961-1 and 1961-5, consisting of multiple acts involving kidnapping under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 207, California Penal Code attempt, California Penal Code aiding and abetting, California Penal Code conspiracy. Multiple acts involving arson, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code arson, California Penal Code attempt, California Penal Code aiding and abetting, California Penal Code conspiracy. Multiple acts involving bribery, chargeable under the following provisions: California Penal Code bribery of a witness, California Penal Code attempt, California Penal Code aiding and abetting, California Penal Code conspiracy. What witness did he bribe? What witness did he bribe? Which witness was bribed? And can we expand on that? Does anybody know which witness was bribed? Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, United States Code, Section 1512, relating to tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, United States Code, Section 1589, relating to forced labor. I still don't know who was forced to work. Now, we have to be realistic. A gigolo, while it may not be legal in most states, they are getting paid, right? So who is forced to work? And these people that were forced to work, what were they forced to do? We need to open that up a little bit. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, United States Code, Sections 1591 and 2, relating to trafficking. That's taking a person from here to there to do something strange for change, right? Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, United States Code, Sections 2421, 2422, and 2, relating to transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of strange for change and other illegal stuff, right? Multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute, that's dealing, right? Or distribution of controlled substance, including Coca-Cola, oxycodone. Oh my God. Looks like all kinds of combinations of chemicals down here. Bromo, gamma, ketamine. Ketamine is a horse tranquilizer, right? Distribution and possession with intent to distribute, and conspiracy to do the same. So not only was he taking it, he was giving it out like candy, right? So when people say Diddy loved to party, yeah, he loved to party, and he had the party favors. Whoa, okay. It was part of the conspiracy that Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. Yeah, they have more than 2, right? They have more than 2. So, notice of special sentencing factor from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018. The Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as a part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed to, in an affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person, knowing and in reckless disregard of the facts that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18 United States Code, Section 1591E2, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a Strange for Change act in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1591A1 and B1. Okay? Count 2. Strange for change traffic by force, fraud, or coercion. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018. That's 8 years. In the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, the defendant in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce. What is the effect to foreign commerce? I'm going to have to ratiocinate on that one. Knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained. Advertised is crazy. Where did he advertise this? Okay, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means by force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18, United States Code, Section 1591E2. And that any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial Strange for Change act and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same to wit. Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, victim 1. Who's victim 1? Who is this? And attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused victim 1 to engage in commercial Strange for Change acts and knowing, and in reckless disregard of the fact that victim 1 was engaging in Strange for Change acts as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. Count 3. Transportation to engage in Strange for Change. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024. That is a long time. That's like Diddy. That's like 15 years. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024. 15 years. In the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. P. Diddy, the defendant, knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent. This is a big word here. Intent. Intent. Intent is a huge word. That the individual engage in prostitution and attempted, aided, and abetted, willfully caused the same to wit. Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the transportation of female victims. This is plural. And commercial Strange for Change workers. This is plural. In interstate and foreign, this means other countries, on multiple occasions, with the intent that they engage in Strange for Change acts. Next, forfeiture allegations. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to United States, pursuant to Title 8, United States Code, Section 1963, any and all interest the defendant acquired or maintain in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962, any and all interest in, securities of, claims of, and property of, contractual rights of any kind affording a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of, in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962, and any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds obtained directly and indirectly said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. So basically what they're saying here is if they can come up with a dollar amount, which they will try to calculate a dollar amount for about how much money that he made doing these offenses, or how much money people lost out on, or how much money was frauded out of, or how much money that he made, or how much money he benefited, or how much money someone else didn't benefit, or something to that nature, they're going to want him to pay, if I understand that correctly. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 2 of this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 1594, any and all property, real and personal, involved in, used, or intended to be used to commit or to facilitate the commission of said offense, and any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of property involved in said offense, and proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. So the United States of America, go figure, they want their money, because they're saying, hey, you were doing this for so long and we didn't know about it, and you were messing people over. You were screwing people over for so long, we didn't know about it. It flew under our nose, they say, right? Now we want ours. Cassie got hers. Now, hell no. This is not about to go down like this. You breaking all these laws and shit and think we're not going to get our cut? Oh, fuck that. So the United States said, hey, let me talk to you for a second. First of all, you're going to jail. Second of all that money and shit that was flying around when you were doing all, we're going to need some of that too. Because no, right? As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 3 of this indictment, Sean Combs shall forfeit to the United States pursuant any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds obtained, directly or indirectly, as a result of said offense, any and all property, real or personal, that was used or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of said offense, any and all property, real and personal, that constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency. I find that so funny. Why do they say it like that? Representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. Substitute assets provision. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States pursuant to Title 18, Title 21, and Title 28 to seek forfeiture of any property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. And United States Attorney Damian Williams signed it at the bottom with all the United States codes there, guys. That is a 14-page indictment. We just thought that Cassie was suing Diddy because he was a bad boyfriend or he hit her, right? It goes so much deeper. But a lot of people are saying, why can't he get off on bail? Why can't he get off on bail? I understand why he doesn't have bail. Because it's easy for him to pick up his phone and try to intimidate. You see where in that lawsuit they said intimidate, coerce, intimidate, coerce, intimidate, coerce. How easy is it for you when you walk out to pick up the phone and try to do damage control? Try to move money out of accounts and put them in other countries. It's easy to do stuff like that, right? Another thing that stuck out to me, the United States is looking for money and property that might have been gained out of him committing this racketeering. They want to recover something. The United States acknowledged a lot of things that were acknowledged in Cassie's testimony, which is really interesting. But they say victims. So are there other victims that were involved in these commercial parties? That's what I need to know. And when we talk about interstate commerce, and when we talk about foreign commerce, was there any dealings, illegal dealings with other countries? And if so, what were they? There's some questions I have that just are not adding up. And the biggest one, 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What in the damn hell were you doing with 1,000 mother of baby oil and what's other lube? Are you kidding me? Why? People's children need that. Babies need that. I mean, as adults, don't we just buy lotion? I understand. Like, why do you need that? And if you did want to be extra lubricated or extra, extra oiled up, 1,000? That to me seems excessive. Why? Why did you just got people ordering you pallets of fucking baby oil? I am sick of it. A lot of people get really rich. They get really, 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 really rich, like so much money they can swim in it. And they lose themselves, right? They didn't even know who they were before they had money. So they get money and they lose it. They lose themselves. And they feel like other people are just dirt. So I think it's the money. Money makes them feel immortal. Money makes people feel immortal. I feel like let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may. And you never try to change. And with that being said, thank you guys for stepping in. I really, really enjoyed reading this and adding my analysis. It was really, really insightful. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you know each and every time I drop those videos. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye now.